Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati.
Hare Krishna. Reading Bhagavad-gita again, second chapter. And the second chapter of Bhagavad-gita, I must say, is a very satisfying read. It's a condensed understanding of the science of the soul. It is a very, very good basis for all further spiritual studies and spiritual practice. And yes, so we will just start to read it. I start with the Sanskrit and then the translation, and then I will read Srila Prabhupada's purport, commentary and explanations. Yeah. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalam Medang Vishame Samupashtitam Anarya Jushtamasvargyam Akirti Karamarjuna. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy." Purport. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate in the Absolute Truth. Absolute Truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 11, this conception of the Absolute Truth is explained thus. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvang yat jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. The Absolute Truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the Absolute Truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the Absolute Truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Yeah. These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the Absolute Truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the Absolute Truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planets is compared to those who realize the personal feature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Therefore, the Bhaktas, or the Transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagavan features of the Absolute Truth, are the topmost Transcendentalists. Although all students who are engaged in the study of the Absolute Truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another, and yet the students of the three different phases are not in the same category. Yes. So we start here. We start with establishing what is the Absolute Truth. Because as much as the Bhagavad-gita's second chapter deals with the soul, the individual living entity, explained and analyzed very thoroughly, the spirit soul is always connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we established that here. The Vedic understanding from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not that that these are three different things. We have followers of the impersonal aspect of the Absolute, We may not be so familiar with followers of the Paramatma feature of the Lord, but it's certainly explained in the Vedas, and that's what the yogic path, the jhana yoga, meditational yoga path is directed towards. And we have the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And sometimes followers of different schools are, focusing on one of those aspects and not being terribly interested in the other aspects. And that is natural, because these are three different phases of the same absolute truth. But it's important to come back to that fact. They are just different phases. And actually, they are not different phases at all, but they are realized by students who are in different phases. So just as the sun planet is given as the example, we can also say a city. You see it from the distance at night, and it's just a vague light in the sky. And when you're driving on the road, you can realize we're coming closer to a city now because the sky is lit up. And that is true. It is not false. But it is not a complete realization of that city. And then you come closer still, and you will be able to see the buildings and the roads and the structures, and that is also that city. But to come further, you have to get to know the people who live there, to be invited into their homes, to sit down and have realization, to sit down and have conversation and relationships. That is the full realization of that city. So in the same way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he's standing here face to face with Arjuna, and Arjuna is his very dear friend. That is not, the point where we start to propound impersonal philosophy, that the absolute truth is actually an impersonal energy which we're all part of. No, we have already come so much closer, we have already understood him as a person. So our further studies of Bhagavad-gita and our further attempts at spiritual realization, they will all be based on this. We are accepting Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even in the second chapter, that doesn't deal so much with Krishna, which mostly speaks about the nature of the soul. But in order not to get sidetracked or to misunderstand the relationships between these different philosophical points, we bring in Krishna directly. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parashara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva. The Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagavan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached. But no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. Entirely. Only Krishna can claim this, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva or Narayan, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord, or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. Yes, the Brahma Samhita, spoken by Lord Brahma, who is the first living entity in the universe. We can hopefully come to the Srimad Bhagavatam that has a very sophisticated description of the creation. That is often a stumbling block coming to religion. We're saying, that's so primitive. How can they believe these things? Probably because it is not meant as a detailed study. It's just meant as a general idea. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the understanding of the creation from different angles, at different stages, and in a very sophisticated way. But the first person who enters into that creation, that is Brahma. And this is his song, his description about Krishna. So, yes, we are reading Bhagavad-gita. This is the beginning. But Prabhupada is bringing in everything else. So we don't need to get impatient to get through Bhagavad-gita. We get so much of it already here. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. Brahma Samhita 5.1. In the Bhagavatam also there is a list of many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead, from whom many incarnations and personality of Godhead expand. Ete changsha kala pungsha krishnastu bhagavan svayam indrari vyakulang lokang mridayanti yuge yuge. At all the lists of the incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or part of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Therefore, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the source of both the Super Soul and the impersonal Brahman. In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expresses his surprise with the word Kuta, where from? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to a person who knows the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Yes, so we establish Krishna. Krishna is here, and in contrast, Arjuna's doubts and lamentations become. So the word Aryan here, the word Aryan has been misused in recent history as something totally different. During the Second World War, the Nazis were trying to incorporate Vedic philosophy, but they did not understand it. Aryan is not a group based on birth, based on color of skin, anything like that. Aryan means a person who knows the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. So anyone can do that. We are all invited to be Aryans. But especially 5,000 years ago, there was a strong civilization based on those principles. And that's where both Krishna and Arjuna, that was their foundation. That's where what they were part of. And therefore Krishna was surprised that Arjuna was getting a little bit sidetracked here. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is the realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan, and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Yes, so I think that includes a lot of people. Again, not dependent on birth or country of origin or anything like that, but according to how they apply spiritual understanding in their lives. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman. So yes, this will continue. We will read the second chapter. All these points will come up in the talks between Krishna and Arjuna. But this is the beginning. We start here. Krishna is God. We are not this material body. And one important aim of the Bhagavad-gita is to give us philosophical and spiritual tools for our spiritual life. But at the time in history when this was spoken, one aim was also to maintain a civilization that not only gives Arjuna the impetus to engage in spiritual life, but that gives a good basis for everyone, for all the citizens. All the people should have the best opportunity to live a peaceful life and to engage in spiritual realization. Generally, you don't have to fight wars for that, but sometimes it comes to that point, and this is such a time where the Bhagavad-gita is spoken. So yes, so much is already there in just in one purport to one verse, and this is one of the reasons I very much want to share the Bhagavad-gita with you. And we will continue next time, and as usual, I appreciate if there are questions and comments, you can leave them and we will try to come back to them. And I hope you will come back for the next verse the next time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam